Can we get the council members back so we can start our meeting?
I didn't talk to anybody except Wendy. I think they're all here for Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say why they were here. They're for him. They might be after.
Everyone, I'd like to call back to order our city council meeting for December the 12th, 2017. Roll call, please.
Bielisich,
Present.
Captain Gomez,
Present.
Dutra,
Here. I'm waving at people.
Garcia,
Here.
Hernandez,
Here.
Hurst,
Here.
Rios.
Here, can you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Full house, great.
This is the time for presentations and oral communications. This is always a very excited times, and we really welcome all of you for being here. Always when we're making some changes, adjustments, positions, it's always good to see that the public is coming and is witnessing, in a sense, democracy in action. And whatever they say, it's really good that we can practice our democratic process and be able to continually express our views. If anyone from the audience needs interpretation, we have our interpreter here. We have some headsets on the side if you need one. So please don't hesitate to come and have one and speak in your own language. So this is the time for the public and the city council to address us. So any members of the public that would like to address us, please fill the paper, come forward. These are an items that are not in the agenda, okay? So please come forward.
Council members, my name is Jenny Sarmiento. I live on 12 Pelican Drive. I would like to say, as we come close to the end of the year, I would like to congratulate you all for the great events that we've had in the community, where it just brought so many people out from the community itself and also from the other areas close by. The Strawberry Festival, the concerts at the park, the lighting of the trees. I mean, it was just very exciting, and it seemed at a time like this when there's so many other issues going on in the rest of the country, to have something positive here and honoring the diversity of our community was excellent. So I would like to congratulate all staff, the city council and city staff, for putting such great events this last year, and I look forward to next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
My name is Steve Trujillo. I want to echo Jenny Sarmiento's sentiments. I completely agree. It's a great honor to live in Watsonville, and I have great respect for all of you sitting across from me. I think you're doing a wonderful job. I want to particularly congratulate Lowell and Jimmy for being willing to take the helm for the city for the next year. And I want to also bring attention to a wonderful man who works for the city by the name of Rex Rackley, and works extremely hard to go up and down, particularly Freedom Boulevard and Main Street and Green Valley Road, painting out the graffiti that seems to appear overnight. He and his crew do wonderful work, as do the people who pick up the parks and pick up the trash, and I call them on the 768-3133 hotline almost once a week, if not more, and they're doing a fabulous job. I want to direct the attention to the interview with our governor, Governor Brown, on 60 Minutes on Sunday. He touched upon all the issues that I think the City Council needs to touch upon. 25% of the homeless people in this country are here in California. Global warming is real. Donald Trump is a fool. We need to address global warming in all aspects. I was delighted, and my councilwoman Nancy Bilasich, whose place I hope to take next November, you were right. The tree in Attree Park did get planted, and it was very good that you did tell me we're planting trees, and I can see the results, and it's very good. We need the oxygen, and of course they breathe out oxygen and breathe in carbon dioxide. I also want to address, but later in the agenda, the Personnel Commission's approval of various positions for the police department. I know that's later on the agenda. I won't speak to it now, but I do want to speak to it later. And my 3 minutes are up yet? Okay. Very good.
48 seconds.
40 seconds. Okay. The last few things I wanted to ask you for is, no, it's not in our purview to do national affairs, but I think the developments in recent months, and particularly in the last few weeks, would demand that our City Council construct a resolution demanding that President Trump either resign or is impeached by Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Israel Tirado. I'm with the Parks and Community Services Department, and I'm here tonight to inform you that we are currently collecting feedback concerning the Watsonville Strawberry Festival. This will be done via a SurveyMonkey survey, and so we encourage you to share your input, and if you'd like to do so, please visit the event website, celebratestrawberries.com. The survey link is also being displayed on the screen there. This link has also been shared on the city's social media sites, Instagram and Facebook. So we really appreciate your input and your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Anyone else? Please come forward. If anyone else would like to speak and address some items in their agenda, please come stand behind her.
Hi, good
Hello.
evening. I haven't been here in a while, but my name's Victoria Heisch, and I live at 343 Hushbeck here in Watsonville. Born and raised here, grew up here, love Watsonville. My concern is the traffic on Hushbeck. I was wanting to request if there's any possible way they could maybe put speed bumps on that street. I mean, I'm at the corner of Hushbeck and Center. When 1 o'clock at night, I mean, I'm a night owl, and I go to sleep about between 1:30, but there's cars that go through there like they're racing. It's horrendous, and there's been like maybe since I've been there, I've probably seen 4 accidents. People hitting cars and take off, hit and run. You know, I witness a lot, and I just was wondering if they could possibly put some speed bumps there, just to kind of slow the traffic down. It's really dangerous, and there's a lot of kids on that block too, so that was just my main concern.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Victoria.
thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Before we go to the council, I just want to let you know, Victoria, that we will be addressing that issue of safety and traffic. That's been a real high concern for the police and us here addressing that, and we will be addressing it. Okay? Thank you very much for bringing it forward. Okay. We will start with the City Council members first. They would like to address the public. Anyone? Garcia.
I thought you were just going to start.
You raise your hand first.
This evening, you will hear all the meetings and events that most of us attended in the last few weeks, but I want to focus on one meeting. I sit along with Matt on the Santa Cruz County Homeless Governance Steady Committee. We have been meeting since March, although we did take a break during the summer. Members of the committee include a council member and staff member from each of the 4 cities in the county. There are also representatives from the county and community members who work on homelessness. The goal of the committee is to establish an effective and efficient governing body to address homelessness. We have identified 3 major problems, which are a lack of countywide decision-making body and structure that has representations from all stakeholders. There's a lack of overall coordination, and there's an insufficient capacity and resources to do our work. At our last meeting this month, we agreed to a governance model that could help us address these problems. We are looking to establish an interagency policy council, a coordinating council, and tasks groups. We have a lot of work to do to address homelessness in Santa Cruz County, but we're going to begin by reforming our current county lead agency, the Homeless Action Partnership, of which Matt is a member. And I'd like to ask Matt if you'd like to add anything.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. I would just add that I think we all know the homeless epidemic we're dealing with throughout the county is really going to require a coordinated county-wide approach to working towards solutions. So we're hopeful that this action plan that we're going to continue working on over the coming months will ensure that there are equitable resources shared throughout the county and that we can better coordinate with our neighbors to help serve the homeless populations both in North and South County.
Thank you, Matt. And so I will continue to give updates as we continue, and hopefully we can address this very serious issue in a county and in our city. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hernandez.
Sorry for the delay. Just going to talk about 3 events that I attended. I want to talk about the holiday tree lighting ceremony. It was such a good move to add the holiday train. That line got really long. The kids totally loved the holiday train around the plaza. I hope we include it from here on out and make it a new tradition. The holiday factory sale was a huge success. Every place that I went to was packed with people. I attended Annie Glass, and I followed Annie around with her pen, see everything that she would mark down, and try to grab some of those that she marked down by 50%. The Kitchen Incubator, Hidden Fortress, a coffee shop. If you haven't been there, go visit it, right by Fox Shocks in that area. A new winery in Watsonville called Integrity Wines. I dropped by there and got a tour and different samples there. The holiday's coming, so make sure you not only shop local, but shop with local manufacturers, local products here in Watsonville that are made here in Watsonville. The other thing is we put together this community bike ride and repair day, and we had tons of kids come with broken bikes and adults as well. They got their bikes fixed, and then we went on a bike ride through Ramsey, through downtown. It was a great event. A lot of kids had fun. A lot of the kids got their bikes repaired, as well as adults. And the other thing, and the last thing is, I want to make sure that people know that there's a group of organizers that are going around gathering signatures for a hospital initiative to bring the costs within 15% of what the local rates are. So there's been several things that the local hospitals charging a lot more, almost 50% more than what hospitals in Santa Cruz are charging. So there's a signature gathering drive to put something on the ballot that will keep the cost within 15% of what local hospitals charge. So I think it's a good thing. I encourage people to sign it, and that concludes my remarks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dutra.
Thank you. I know you guys will be hearing from me a lot later, so I'm just going to say a couple words. I first want to say good evening. Welcome everybody at home who's watching this. I want to recognize a lot of people are celebrating today the Virgen de Guadalupe, and as well as Hanukkah. Today's the first day of Hanukkah, so anybody who's celebrating all that, both of those events, days,
hello, congratulations, happy birthday. So I wanted to say that I've done a few things. It was really busy. A lot of events had craft fairs. So I went to the Relay for Life event, the Toy for Tots at All Saints Church, the Fairgrounds Foundation, and these are all organizations that were raising money for their organizations. So I went around. It was really nice to see the community out. Everybody was out there supporting these organizations, and I think it's, to me, a craft fair just kind of says, here's the opening of the holiday season. So it was nice to see that. I was running around like crazy. I followed the Santa Cruz Parade as well. So in the morning, I was at the Santa Cruz Parade walking for Metro, and then I did that. So I definitely passed out of exhaustion at the end of the day. But I also went to the Pearl Valley Historical Association's Christmas tea. That was nice. I think it's so great that we have a city and a community that really appreciates keeping our culture, going back, dating back in history. I always enjoy looking at their pieces of the clothing. And so if you guys have time before the end of the month, go down to the Pearl Valley Historical Association and check out what they have going on. And then holiday Christmas tree lighting, it was great. Great to see the community out there, all the kids singing. Appreciated everybody the Multicultural Center who participated in that. I see Mas Hashimoto out there. Thank you guys for everything that you guys have done for making sure that this happens. And then finally, I went to the Seroptimus holiday dinner. It was nice to always hang out with the Seroptimus group. So I want to say thank you very much, and I'll talk a little later. Bye.
Ms. Trina Gomez.
Thank you. I will keep it brief because I promised the exchange student that I'm hosting that's from Belgium. She's with me for a few months. It's a Rotary exchange. I did promise her that we will be a very short meeting this evening, and so I hope to keep up my word on that. But I'm happy that she's here with us. She's with me and my family for a few months, and understand a little bit about the civic engagement of what we're doing here in this little community that I'm proud to be part of, and making memories for her to be able to take back and share with her family as well. So thanks for coming and your patience. And just a few things. We went to Toys for Tots yesterday as one of the just helping the community out. Delilah's wonderful. She is, if she hasn't got you already, she's going to get you in terms of helping out with this agency. And I don't see, she didn't come today, so I'm going to place the announcement on her behalf. And the need for the toys are for the young teens, between the boys and the girls, the young teens. That's the gifts that we're after, that we really need the most of. The younger ones, those are easy toys to get, but I think that the shortage for the need for our community for the gifts are young youth, 12, 14 age range. So hopefully if any of you are still left out there thinking about being generous this Christmas, Toys for Tots can use that type of donation. And we're going to see a lot more of the 150th. I won't go into too much of that about now. And the Kawakami is also doing a fundraiser this Sunday at the Applebee's, and that will help with some of the proceeds to bring some of the exchange students here and reciprocate that as well. So if any of you would like to take part in that, enjoy breakfast and helping a good cause as well. So I love to see a big audience here. It's great to see so many faces, and again, enjoy the rest of your evening here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Pelicic.
Well, again, here we go, a full house. This is awesome. So we're happy that you're here. Welcome, everybody. Lots of activities, as you've heard. I had the opportunity to go to the Pearl Valley Historical Association's tea. That organization is so excited about being awarded the Organization of the Year, and they'll be noted at the PV Chamber dinner, recognized there in January. Then Footsteps to Brilliance. If you have children in the Pearl Valley Unified School District, you know that there's a new reading program, and it's in English and Spanish. The National Press Conference was held on December 4th. A lot of people here. Ana Caballero addressed the group, and I think that, it's a long-term solution, but it's a start to try and improve children's reading, and I think, from what I understand, it's working very well. We had the Watsonville High School Foundation dinner at the same time the Seroptimus dinner was. So I missed the Seroptimus dinner, but I will be going to the Seroptimus, the past president's dinner. I think it's tomorrow night. So there's a lot of activities all the time. Laurel Jones, retired from Cabrillo, hopefully will welcome the new president soon. Zone 7 had a flood board meeting on December the 5th. I think that we can never give up on that. We have to continue to be vigilant and continue to talk to the Board of Supervisors, who's working with the Army Corps of Engineers, who's working with Jimmy Panetta. All of that is going to happen. I mean, we are going to make a difference with the levee. And like I said, I don't think we can ever give up. So we have to be vigilant and just keep watching and pay attention to what's going on there. There are 11 sites on the South Squaties Creek that need to be fixed. And hopefully they're supposedly going to be fixed in January. I hope we don't have too much rain before then, but they do have funding and they are going to fix those. So look forward to that sooner than later. They had breakfast with Santa. Many students were there. I think the other couple of council members were there too. It was held at the Senior Center on Sunday, and then the community band had their annual conference in the afternoon at the Mello Center. And last night I was at St. Francis School. They're talking about their capital campaign. You know, everybody has a capital campaign. Well, they're having one at the school too. So lots of activities, lots of things going on for all of us. I think that concludes my remarks for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hertz.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. You know, in addition to all the activities that the council and I attended, I did go to the Board of Supervisors meeting as well. And you think we have rugged meetings here sometimes. The Board of Supervisors is long, and maybe that's why they get paid the big bucks. But it was a little tough getting back from Santa Cruz, too. You know, it was about 5:15, and it was pretty packed. And so I feel everybody's pain when they have to come home after a long day of work in Santa Cruz, and that's something we should work on. There was another meeting here recently that was well attended, too. It was a school board meeting, and there were reportedly, theoretically, 700 people in the not in this room, but in the next room as well, and many people out on the street corner, I noticed. So that was a big deal, and I'm glad we've got a room that'll hold a crowd, but that crowd exceeded capacity, and of course our fire and police had to be called in for crowd control of the teachers of all things. Happy holidays to everyone. Let's work on public safety all the time. And be prepared for any emergency. We see these fires in the South Country, and we worry, and we need to be prepared. And so let's always be vigilant, and the judge will be here soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, you hear all the activities that go on here in the city and around us, and you can see how the council is very active on as much as we can go to different events. So I want to thank the council for that. Being represented on different levels in the city and the county, I think is really important. I also very happy and glad that you're here this evening. Also wanted to send a condolence to the people of San Francisco and the family of Mayor Lee for, you heard this morning, passing away. Great person, and he will be missed in San Francisco. I was also able to attend to some of the factory sales. I think it was really good, and it was really good to see a lot of the people participating. So once a year this event happens, but you get to see a lot of the commercial and a lot of the uniqueness that we have here in Watsonville. So that was really good. So thank you for all the participants. I was very, very impressed with a lot of the people, especially the community kitchen. That was really good. A lot of great food and a lot of organic movement that is taking place right now. I'm also a member of the League of Cities statewide. I represent the Tri-Counties, Monterrey League of Cities, and we had our retreat this last week, and there were priorities that we discussed, and we're going to be bringing up next year more of what the priorities of the league statewide is going to be focusing. And one of those is the issue of the SB1, which was the money to fix roads and bridges and transportation. That's going to be a big issue. I know that a lot of us like it, a lot of us don't like it, but it's going to be a big one coming up. And I will bring you up to date in the council on the rest of the priorities that the league has formulated for next year lobbying in Sacramento. Also, I sit in the Regional Transportation Commission, and you're going to be hearing more about, if you're not, the discussion going on right now. What do we do with the rail tracks that we have coming from Davenport all the way to Watsonville? And it's important that we participate in these discussions. There's a whole movement of what we should do with that trail. Make it either a trail, make it into a rail trail, make it a bicycle trail. There's a lot of discussions, but it's good that it's going on, and Watsonville plays a big role, because there's also talking, and by 2040, there's also discussion of improving rail throughout California, and Pájaro probably being a station is being included in the plan. So it's a lot of exciting things going on, and I think this evening we're going to have some more exciting things happening, and we will be saying more on these different subjects. So thank you very much. Mr. Montoya, any comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Can we have a report of closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There were two items discussed in closed session tonight. In the first item, case number 517-6594, U.S. Federal Court, the City Council authorized the staff to retain the services of attorney and answer the complaint in that case on behalf of the city and on behalf of the involved police officer. The second decision, second item discussed, was a conference with real property negotiator, and on that item, the council received direction but took no final action. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving to our next item. This is a real neat item because I think some of us already talked about the beautiful lighting in the park. So this is recognition of staff, volunteers, and sponsors for the multicultural celebration and Christmas tree lighting on December the 3rd, 2017 in the plaza. Staff report?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Tamara Vides, Assistant to the City Manager, and I'm here tonight to join you to acknowledge the efforts of various groups of individuals who came together to create, with an incredible amount of synergy, to create a very magical afternoon in our town. The tree lighting ceremony, multicultural celebration, was held on December 3rd, and this event was the result of various groups working collaboratively. And you saw the results personally, and I was excited to see all of you there. I want to take a few minutes to recognize all of those who made that event possible. And I want to start by recognizing the group, the Multicultural Celebration Group. There were booths, there were vendors, and a very colorful and very program of dancers and singers that represented all the cultures in Watsonville. This is done by a group of volunteers and community members that, supported by the YWCA, bring this annual event to our community. If you can please stand when I say your name, it will be great. I want to acknowledge this evening, Harry Wiggins is here with us, Clarice Wiggins, Mike Baker, Deborah Harris, Larry Abrams, and Marsha Hashimoto are here this evening. I want to thank you for being here tonight, but thank you for your work.
One more.
Rachel, thank you for being here too. We also have Kimberly Garcia, Valerie Rivera, and Leticia Mendoza, who works tirelessly through the year to organize this. The multicultural celebrations certainly offer a beautiful display of traditions and cultures for all the families to enjoy. There were kids playing loteria or learning how to make origami, learning how to write your name in Japanese, or playing the game of dreidel certainly had a multicultural experience for all children. And I really, again, want to thank you for volunteering your time and creating such a wonderful experience here in Watsonville. Good job. Thank you. I've also want to thank and recognize the work of the City of Watsonville Parks crew. Led by Park Superintendent Ben Heinstein, the Parks crew worked tirelessly for about 3 weeks to make the plaza look fabulous for the season. I think you witnessed that. Those who work decorating the plaza, they definitely took great pride in their work and were very creative. And I've also asked them to come here tonight so that we can thank them for fabulously work completed in our plaza. Mike Leon is here with us tonight. Jose Rocha. If you guys can stand, it would be great. Cesar Sanchez, JJ Rocha, Rocky Chirashi, George Martinez, Miriam Hernandez, and of course, Ben. Thank you very much. Their effort of decorating the plaza is definitely complemented by the generous donations of a Christmas tree that anchors the beautiful display of lights. The Christmas tree has been a tradition for the city for the past 5 years, and we want to thank the donor that makes this possible for Watsonville every year. The best part of this Christmas tree, if you don't know this, is that it's a live tree. So this tree will be then planted permanently in Pinto Lake for all our community to enjoy for many years. The donor that donates the tree also covers the cost of the lights and the decorating the Christmas tree. And this captures like 7 seconds of how fun it was to light up that tree. So that was our tree lighting moment. And it was definitely a fabulous event. It was well attended. Santa came to visit from the North Pole. You all had a chance to visit with him. And this year, we, as you mentioned earlier, we had a special addition to the event, which is a children's train, and offer free rides around the plaza. And this was made possible thanks to the donation and efforts of one couple that truly believes in creating community here in Watsonville. And I want to thank June and Rogelio Ponce. I don't think they're here tonight, but we want to thank them. They enlisted the assistance of others in the community that sponsored this Christmas train. We want to thank PVPSA, Lakeside Organic, Elite Development, Sun Valley Berries, and Pacific Coast Berries for their sponsorship of the Christmas train. Thank you very much. As you can see, there's a lot to coordinate. There's logistics, there's street closures, permits, masters of ceremony, and there is a last group of individuals I want to thank who are the glue. They put it all together. I want to thank our Watsonville Police Department and Public Works Department. They helped us make that event safe for all of us with the street closures and bringing Santa safe from the North Pole to the plaza. That was very important work. Thank you so much for that. I also want to thank Brad Blatchley, Assistant Directors of Parks Department. Brad, if you're here, please stand so we can thank you for working all the logistics. We also have our Masters of Ceremony, Israel Tirado. Thank you for your work. And great job up in the stage, keeping the event going. It was great. We also want to thank Eugene Bragado and Matthew Jimenez and other rec leaders who help just kick the holiday celebration in gear for our community. If you haven't had a chance to stop by the plaza, I highly recommend it. It looks beautiful. Again, I want to thank all of you who made this great event possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tamara. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on. Mr. Hertz, pointing.
Yes, at this time I will present the ceremonial gavel to Mayor Rios, and let me read the inscription. It says, Mayor Rios, District Number 2, City of Watsonville, December 2016 to December 2017. know that the gavel is a symbol of the mayor, and it's used to open and close the meeting. And I was really lucky to be able to teach gavel use during my teaching career at Watsonville High School when during the curriculum for the Future Farmers of America group. And so with this, I present Mayor Rios with the ceremonial gavel.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I will save it.
Mayor Rios has a big collection of these already, you know. He may open a gavel store. He's got 5, 6, 7.
5.
Some from some other organizations as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I guess next item is item E, and just a few comments from myself. First, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank the voters of District 2 that gave me their confidence to elect me again. I want to thank all the volunteers that also made it possible. A year ago, we were celebrating that victory today. And I also want to thank the staff of our city. I want to thank the council here for working together this year. The year has gone so fast. It's gone quick. Here we go, 2018. But there's just tremendous turmoil going on in the country as well as in the world. And it's just so incredible that we live in such a tiny little planet. But there's so much commotion and also dangerous that we could also have a nuclear war. Things are so unbelievable today because, again, our democracy opens the door for people like what we have today governing the country. I feel very strong that all of us can overcome that. And I know that we will overcome it because we really believe in having peace on earth. We believe in relating to each other. We believe in families. And we believe in having cities like ours in Watsonville to be communities where we feel safe, where we feel that we're moving forward, that our youth and our kids are getting educated, and that there is prosperity for everyone that lives here. We have to really do away and this notion that immigrants are at fault for what is going on in the country. We know that just if we start here in Watsonville, and we're going to be celebrating 150 years next year, and we're going to be talking about the history and the contributions of the different nationalities that have made the Pajaro Valley and Watsonville what it is today. And if we go down all the way to the first pilgrims that came to this nation, we know there were already Native Americans in this country. Throughout the world, we know there were already Mayas, Incas, Aztecas, on and on. So this is nothing new. I think that what is happening right now in the country is also happening in the world. There's a tremendous turmoil going on in trying to blame people for what conditions are taking place, for some job loss that have gone overseas. So for us here, I feel that we're celebrating the end of 2017, but we're welcoming 2018, and I really hope that we continue to work together as a council, that we will continue to represent our constituents. We were elected to look for the interests of all of the people of the city of Watsonville, and to also have the relationship in our 3 counties, Monterrey, San Benito, and Santa Cruz. We are more like a tri-county, and we have to look at ourselves as a tri-county. Our city is progressing, it's moving forward. I have seen a lot of changes that are taking place. We know that we have challenges. We know that rents have become so high, housing has become very scarce. We know that the trouble that we have with traffic on one, those that have to travel, going in the mornings and coming back in the afternoons, we know the headache that it takes. So we know that we have issues here. Earlier, you mentioned the issue of traffic here. We have to do that, but at the same time feel really good and proud that we haven't had so far homicides, that our crime rate has really gone down, and thanks to the police and a new way that the new chief and the assistant chief are putting forward, a more of a community-based approach to deal with the people. And we talked about the problem of the homeless. I know that We didn't used to see what we have seen here, but it's also not just homeless. It's also mental issues. It's a county-wide, it's a statewide, it's a nationwide problem. In my year of serving you, I feel that I have done my best to represent the city on every level, statewide and nationally. And I really feel proud that wherever I go, there's always a mention, somebody that knows somebody here in Watsonville, or somebody sitting at strawberries, and somebody is eating something that is grown here in Watsonville, or drinking Martinelli juice, or something. We are international. We are international. And we had the experience to go to our sister city in Pinghu, China. They were so excited to know that we have traveled so many miles and visit them. We came back, they came over here. They were also so excited to see that we are building a relationship upon people to people. Recently, we also with Vice Mayor Lowhertz, we just came back from El Salvador, another of our sister city. They were also very excited. They name a street Watsonville. Okay, I don't know how they're going to pronounce it, but Calle Watsonville. It was very, very excited, the trip that we went over there. They're looking forward. We took a constituency with us, and they were so excited. Mexico, right now, we have also in the process of building 2 other sister cities, and we know the success that we have had with Kawakamimura. Kawakamimura is the #1 example of how our sister city can nourish, can flourish, and can exchange on the different levels, in this case being education. And I always I think that kids that come from Japan get a big surprise when they come to Watsonville, because I don't know what their notion is, but when they come here, they find out that there's a different culture. And a lot of the kids that go back home, for some of them, there was a first experience to have eaten an enchilada, or eating a taco, eating a burrito, or listen to mariachis. The mixture of cultures that we have here is so wonderful. And that's what we have to keep building. I feel really good. I feel really excited for the next 3 years of my service, that I want to concentrate on issues that were brought out in my district. And one of those is safety. And I think that we have to address that. So again, I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And let's continue 2018 to build more unity, to build justice, and continue to love each other. So, muchas gracias. So now we're going to move our next item. And who's going to do that?
Okay, so Mayor, I want to introduce, welcome, and thank Judge Rebecca Connolly, who is here from the Santa Cruz County Superior Court. She is in Department A, the Juvenile Dependency Department, so difficult department, and she's also the charge of the master calendar for small claims. She was elected in 2010. She's a good friend of Watsonville, and if she works almost exactly 30 feet below where we're sitting right now. Thank you, Judge Connolly.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here today.
Thank you.
Are we almost ready to go?
She's a microphone. Give her the microphone.
I have to echo Mayor Rios' comments. It just seems like yesterday I was here.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe what an honor it is today that I get to swear in Mayor Lowell Hurst, and it will be Vice Mayor, right? Or Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem, excuse me, Jimmy Dutra. I see these 2 men out in our community, amazing public servants. They're such fine representatives of the city of Watsonville. And so today is very special that I get to swear them in. And I have to say, throughout the year, I've seen all the members of the city council at different community events, and it just shows what public participation and how important it is to our city that we have such dedicated public servants. So again, this is a special day for me, and so thank you, Mr. Smith, for making sure that I get to be the judge who swears these two fine men in. So with that, I am going to pass the microphone over. Well, actually, we share it. I think that's the best way. So if you would please both raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Lowell Hurst.
I, Lowell Hurst.
And I, Jimmy Dutra.
I, Jimmy Dutra.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution.
That I will support and defend the Constitution
Of the United States.
of the United States
And of the state of California.
and of the state of California.
And against all enemies.
Against all enemies,
Foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith
And allegiance.
and allegiance
To the Constitution of the United States.
To the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the state of California.
and the Constitution of the state of California.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely
Without any mental reservations.
without any mental reservations
Or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well
and that I
And that I will well
and faithfully
and
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Conley. You know, I first met Judge Conley out on some farmer's field when she was first running for election, and it was cold and windy. Do you remember that?
I think I do.
It was some wonderful ag function, and I think it was the first time we may have met, and we had a great conversation, and then I saw you repeatedly after that, and you were a tough campaigner, and to put up with the agricultural field in the cold darkness, that was pretty tough of you. So thank you very much, Judge Conley.
Oh, that's right.
I'm gonna miss you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
A few words.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I'd certainly like to thank Judge Conley for taking time out of her busy homework day. You know, she works late, she gets up early, she rides her bike around town sometimes, we see that. Keep up the good work, and thank you for serving our youth and needy community in so many ways. Thank you. Next up on our agenda, the switching of the name tags. And now we're going to have comments, and I would ask. Pardon me?
Do I get to speak or no?
We're on, if you're following along on your agenda, which there are some in the back, this puts us at item
G.
Item G, right? I'm new at this. We're going to have comments from myself and Mayor Pro Tem Dutra. Let me invite Mr. Pro Tem Dutra to go first. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this not? Hello, hello. I want to come out to you guys because I'm always, I love being part of the people. I feel that this has been such a. I've been pinching myself all day, trying to figure out, wow, I'm really becoming the mayor pro tem of the city. My dad always used to say, if you didn't wake up every single day and you weren't happy in the job that you were doing, then you're in the wrong job. But what I can tell you today is that I wake up every single day loving exactly what I do. When I wake up and I work hard for the city, I love it because I can see the changes that we are making in our community. So every single day, I know I'm in the right job, and I love this city. So, but I can't do the job without having support. And that's why I want to say my mom and my sister. I don't want to get emotional, but they're my rock. And I couldn't do it without you guys. You're oxygen to me, and without you, I couldn't breathe. And without your support, I couldn't breathe. So thank you very much. And my father instilled a fight in my sister and I. We fight for what's right. And for the last 3 years, I've been fighting for the city of Watsonville. And I sit on boards, and I'm fighting for the city of Watsonville. We have our challenges. Because everyone in this county feels that, well, we deserve our piece of the pie. But just know when I'm there, I'm working really hard for each and every single one of you. But I can't do this alone. And I sat there this morning thinking, I need to present this in the right way, because I know that I can have a vision, and the vision that I have definitely is shared by a lot of people. But I couldn't do this without you guys. I couldn't do this without people like Paul D. and Jaime Sanchez, who when I said, let's get graffiti off the walls and put up murals, they're like, we have our paintbrushes in our hands. I couldn't do this without people like Dr. Julie Hanks, who said, Jimmy, we need compostable poop bags for our dogs in the sloughs. So guess what? Right now, we have a trial going on in my district, and hopefully this will be a citywide implement really soon, that we'll be moving to compostable poop bags. It may sound small, but we're trying to save our environment. One little thing really makes a difference. We have people like Juana and Kimberly, who I work with all the time, to end homelessness. We need to end homelessness in this community, and because of people like them, your staff, the Paro Valley Shelter Service, we're gonna do it. I support you guys, I love it. The Ratanas, Watsonville Boxing Academy, you guys are giving a safe place for kids to go and box and to learn a skill that they probably didn't have before. I thank you guys. I couldn't do it without you guys. Mari, Bertha, thank you for coming, because without you, our Carrie Davis probably never would have got off the ground. I mean, we have a safe place for kids. The Police Activities League came in. We offer after-school programs for all the kids now. We have a healthy garden for people to go and grow their own vegetables. It's because of the community, because I thank you. It's people that step up every single day that say, we want this change in our community. And without them, we couldn't do it. I wanted to acknowledge 3 people: Lucy Rojas, Nick Rivera, Providence Medrano. They're my commissioners. They are part of me here in the city. So when I'm not here and they're working on different things, they're our voices. They're our voices. And so I want to say thank you to the 3 of you guys as well for being part of it. We have to continue fighting for what we believe in. And we believe in this community. I'm honored. I am so honored to be here right now, being the mayor pro tem of the city. Let me tell you, 3 years ago when I ran against an incumbent, and I ran against a local establishment who did not want me elected. We won. And look what we've been able to do over the last 3 years, and what we will continue to do, working with our staff that works relentlessly for the city. I mean, how many times have I called you guys to do things? And you guys are so willing. We're doing this because we love the city that we live in. I had written a speech. I don't know what I did with it, but I wrote a speech. I was afraid I was going to get up here and forget what I wanted to say, but I wrote this city. But it's when you speak from your heart, you don't really need the speech to read from. But we got to continue fighting, because our challenges continue. Oh, this is fine. Thank you, Lowell. Look at our mayor. He's so kind. Thank you. But we got to continue fighting because we have to fight for the people of this community. We got to fight for our farmers. We got to fight for the people to protect our sloughs. We got to continue fighting for everything. We got to fight for our environment. We got to fight for women's rights and LGBT rights, and we got to continue fighting for rights that affect the people in this community. Because without you guys standing up to fight, we aren't going to get very far. Listen, a lot of times, we don't all agree all the time. I've gone down in flames alone by myself. It's been a 6-1 vote and I've gone down, but I've gone down knowing I believe in it. Sometimes it's me and Rebecca, sometimes it's me and Nancy. But when you stand there and you know what you believe in and you stick by your values, that you don't have to worry about people saying, well, you did the wrong thing. Well, this is why I voted this way. So as we go this next year, we're going to continue fighting as a community. We're going to continue wanting more for us because you know why? We deserve it. We deserve a very strong and healthy community. We do. I'll tell you one thing. I will not vote for a fast food restaurant in this community. I won't. I believe we deserve to be a healthy community. I will help put in more gardens, like we did at Carrie Davis, but we have to make sure that we're in this together. Now, I want to say, as I'm my final statements here tonight, before we all go over to our reception across the street, everybody's invited. Thank you, Fatima and Franco. I saw Franco in here earlier. We have a great reception across the street. When we go, introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know. This is our community. Meet somebody, say hi, strike up a conversation. Because that is what's gonna make this community stronger, is when we continue to bond. And when we've got to move forward and take what we really believe in and bring it to fruition, that's gonna happen because we're gonna have each other around. Now, I just wanna say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am so excited to be right here, right now. 2018 is going to be a really good year on so many levels. So let's get out there, let's work hard as a community, and let's continue fighting together. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Dutra. We do see you as a good speaker and a good fighter, and so Watsonville needs people to fight for them, certainly not against them, but fight for them. And so we're really glad to see your selection and appointment here as Vice Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. I had a really nice speech written, but first of all, let me introduce my son, Marcos, my daughter-in-law, Sabrina, my grandson, Marcos, and my granddaughter, Liliana, and my wife, Wendy. Would you please stand up, please? Thank you very much. I wouldn't be able to do these things over the years if it wasn't for an understanding family, and they did have to understand an awful lot, and they helped me understand a lot of things too. And so after I wrote this tremendous speech today, my wife said, hey, let me take a look at that. And she looked at that and she said, you're an idiot, Lowell. You can't, nobody's going to want to hear about what happened in 1868 in Watsonville and all that history stuff that you want to share about how Judge Watson jumped the claim of Sebastian Rodriguez and took over the land title of Rancho Bolsa del Pájaro. And she just said, nah, you got to get rid of this. So about 3 o'clock, I had to think up a new speech. I'll keep it brief, okay? I just call this moving forward in Watsonville, and that's what we really need to do is keep up the momentum, and we need to move forward. And so we are going to celebrate 150 years next year of our incorporation. It's going to be a fantastic multicultural experience, and we're going to have all kinds of downtown events and a big birthday party and decorative displays and street art and maybe a little wine walk around, some wine venues in town, some celebrations, historical depictions. And we need to think about 150 things, 150 great things we can do in Watsonville, and 150 great things about Watsonville, and how to make a greener community, and 150 ways to save the taxpayers' money, and 150 ways to make the city more prosperous. How about maybe try and make the city more affordable for people, but make sure that we have affordable housing, but that we also, grow our economy. So I'll just share with you briefly the mayor's view of what this next year hopefully can be. But I want to say that we're really in it all together, and I think Vice Mayor Dutra really expressed that very fully, that we are all here to pull together, and that's the secret of it, because 7 council members and a city manager and a city clerk and a city attorney, they can't do it all. It really has to come up from the people to make great progress here, and I know that we have the character and the personnel and the wonderful residents in this community to make it happen, but we do have to work together, and that requires compromise on occasion. It requires maybe a little discussion to get into the compromise zone and find what really works for our community. So, as such, to have a good government, it needs to be a helpful government. Helpful. Underline and emphasize helpful. Because I know a lot of people's experience with government's not always very positive. They don't want to have a bunch of regulation. They don't want to have a whole new fleet of rules to jump through. And they'd like to have helpfulness. And so if we can have a more helpful government, I think that would be a good year. Open, transparent, responsible, progressive, inclusive, and positive. We need to keep it on the positive as much as we can. There's folks in the community that always remind us of all the things that they don't like, that went wrong, that they're unhappy about, and that's fine. We've all got gripes. But let's also put away our gripes to a certain degree and have a little bit more cooperation and a little bit more work within the community. And so I'm not talking to the council here about that. I'm talking about to you, the voters and the residents of Watsonville, in a more helpful, cooperative, inclusive, positive manner. Let's be proactive in public safety and crime prevention. Let's take care of the most vulnerable residents of Watsonville, those that aren't as lucky as some of us, folks with mental difficulties, folks that are deep into poverty, folks that need some job training, folks that, for one reason or another have kind of fell down on their luck. So let's make sure that we always think of the most vulnerable in our community. Let's take care of let's make this a city of compassion, a city of care and love. And it was mentioned by Mayor Rios about how if we had more love in town, some of our other problems would go away. Well, it may be just love, but love's a good place to start from. And so let's try and love our neighbor and love our friends and those folks that we don't know. And wrapping up here, let's have a place where children can grow up safely, get a good education, do better maybe economically than their parents. It's a greener city that I want to see. Less trash, more solar, clean air, clean water, a downtown that's vibrant, but not too crimson. Let's make shopping opportunities available in our downtown core as well as on the outside of the city. Let's have more art, music, family entertainment. Let's have a livable wage job for everyone who can work. So, you know, some people look at me and they say, how's this old gringo going to do all that stuff? Well, I just remind folks that, you know, I have traveled extensively in South America and Central America and visited almost every state in Mexico. And that, you know, I have a mixed family, and I'm very fortunate to have adopted children from Jalisco. My wife's a fluent Spanish speaker. I've lived in the city for 33 years. I've worked for the same employer for 32 years, all my professional life, essentially. I've been married for 42 years. And so, you know, being elected, it is an accomplishment. And I say this to kind of demonstrate that I know how to get along. You know, you don't work for the same employer and not get along. You don't work for the same wife and get along. So, you know, I've been elected 4 times by the voters. Now, 2 of them were uncontested races, but you know, the second race that I had, I only won by 13 votes, and so I know what political competition looks like, and I've had the experience of hard campaigning. And so, but there have been thousands of voters over time that have voted for me. And so, not just getting along myself, but getting along with others, let's reflect on the motto for a minute. It's right here on the wall. Opportunity through diversity, unity through cooperation. If we can live that, if we can do that, if we can remember that, we'll be way ahead of things in this city. So, we can't do it alone. It's been said many times, let's work together, let's find ways to cooperate, let's find ways to unify. And after we're all going to hopefully join Mr. Dutra in his reception. There'll be another reception after that at Jalisco, and so I hope that you'll join me there too. Thank you very much. Now we'll quickly move to the important part of our meeting here, the public input on the consent agenda. And if you don't have a consent agenda or any agenda, they're right outside the foyer there if you'd like to follow along. So first I would ask any member of the public who has comments on our consent agenda to step forward, and you'll have 3 minutes at the microphone. Please announce your name. You know, I got in trouble with the school board last week because I didn't fill out a card, so I don't want to be too strict with people on their cards, but fill one out if you feel like it.
All right. Good evening. My name's Ashley Blako, and I'm with the nonprofit Oceana. Our office is in downtown Monterey. First, I'd like to congratulate you, Mayor Hurst and Mayor Pro Tem Dutra, for your new positions. I'm here to speak on, I believe it's item K on the consent calendar. It's the resolution before you to consider adoption to oppose any new offshore oil and gas leasing off our precious coastline. I'd like to thank the outgoing Mayor Rios for bringing this resolution forward on the agenda. I think, as a lot of you probably know, West Coast ocean waters have been off limits to new offshore oil and gas drilling leases for the last several decades. However, a presidential executive order has called to reevaluate all oil and gas potential in all U.S. ocean waters, which means that the Pacific is now on the table to be evaluated for new offshore drilling leases. I believe that passing the resolution before you is consistent with the city's climate action plan, which I commend the city for having such a plan that will actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions and move towards more renewable energy sources, which is also in line with what the greater state of California is doing as well. On the East Coast, more than 130 municipalities banded together during the last administration to pass very similar resolutions, and that momentum was successful in actually getting the Atlantic off the table during the last administration when they were looking at oil and gas leases. So by adopting this resolution, the city of Watsonville can really be a powerful voice in telling Washington that California's coastline isn't for sale, and encouraging other cities and counties across the state to speak up to defend the interests of your communities, the ocean economy, our wildlife that we all find very precious. So thank you very much for your consideration and for your longstanding environmental leadership.
And thank you for being here. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Catherine O'Day. I'm the Executive Director of Save Our Shores, an organization that has been working to protect our Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary shoreline since its inception and even before that. In fact, 40 years ago next year, in 2018, back in 1978, a grassroots organization of people really concerned about the welfare of our coastal communities grouped together and worked tirelessly to stop the first threat of offshore drilling along our coast. After they passed several ordinances that would prevent that drilling from happening, they were not satisfied, and they incorporated Save Our Shores into a nonprofit organization with its next mission to get that Monterey Bay designated as a marine sanctuary. We achieved that in 1992, and we have continued to fight to protect everything good about our shores, about our iconic species who make the Monterey Bay home, our incredible dunes along the Monterey part of our community. And we will continue to do that. And as we approach 2018, I never thought we would be coming full circle to repeat what we did in 1978, to have to fight to protect our shores from the potential new offshore leasing that President Trump's administration and his anti-environmental crew of Zinke, Ross, Pruitt, and Perry have in mind to ruin everything environmental that has been passed by our previous administration and many administrations before that. So I urge you, please, to pass this resolution, stand up with the rest of the coastal communities in the state of California who are doing taking similar action, and protect our shores, continue to protect our shores from oil drilling, gas fracking, and mineral mining. It's really important. There's a lot of effort ongoing in DC these days to reverse many actions that have been taken to protect our shores, and it's important that we speak up and we demonstrate that there is a firm commitment here. As I close, I want to congratulate Mayor Hurst on your new position, and Vice Mayor Pro Tem it's Vice Mayor, it's Mayor Pro Tem Dutra, and also congratulate Mayor Rios on a wonderful year in Watsonville. You have all done tremendous work in our community. Thank you very much, and please do pass this resolution. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much for speaking in favor of Resolution K. That's support of protecting our ocean and coast from offshore drilling, exploration, and fracking. Item K. Next speaker, please.
Steve Trujillo, Vice President of the Pajaro Village Homeowners Association and member of the Personnel Commission. I want to echo our last two speakers who spoke eloquently about Measure K. We need to protect our offshore environment from President Trump and his thugs. And one way we can do this is by making sure that this goes into municipal law. But the main reason I'm here is to speak to the fact that we did not have a full quorum at the last Personnel Commission meeting. I'm not speaking for the other commissioners, just for myself. I want to make that very clear. And Resolution J, I want to speak to briefly. We've talked about the motto, unity through cooperation, and Mayor Hurst, you spoke very well about the fact we want to make this a safe community. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to make sure that this position that takes away, or should say, retrieves property and evidence, particularly guns and violent weapons. We need to make sure that it is completely and fully enforced and becomes law. We have many weapons, as you all know, and the police officers know this, that are circulating the streets and need to be removed. The NRA notwithstanding, nor the GOA, organizations that believe that every gun is a good gun, we need to recognize that no, there are items of destruction that all they do is kill people, and they do not need to be on the streets of Watsonville. So I'm asking you to support items J 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that the streets of Watsonville will be a little safer, and that we have the opportunity, hopefully, to, what I'm hoping, and I suggested this to the Assistant Chief at the last Personnel Commission meeting, have a buyback of weapons. I'll even contribute to that, because we do not need AR-15s and MK-27s and all the other weapons that are basically nothing but killing machines. We all remember what happened in Las Vegas in September. We remember Newtown. We do not want Watsonville to be another national tragic scene with CNN, Fox, and MSNBC trucks all around the neighborhood. And as a former school teacher of 36 years, Lowell, like you, I can't even imagine any kind of a tragedy more worse than the loss of children. So we need to make sure that we speak very loudly and very clearly that we will not go down that road. We will not have guns in our schools, guns in our churches, guns in our cars. They don't belong there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for speaking. Do we have any other speakers on items on the consent agenda? This is the consent agenda. Seeing no one else approaching the microphone, let's pass this back to council and see if council has comments on this consent agenda, or are you ready to move it? I don't know who's first. Let's go down the line. Dr. Bilicich.
I just have a couple of comments on item D, that we are going to have Airport Boulevard resurfaced between, Freedom Boulevard from Green Valley to Airport Boulevard. I think that's a great thing. But I also would like to see Alta Vista to Green Valley Road. We've talked about that before. It's slated to be done in, I think it's 2022, which is a long ways from now. And I'm hoping that we will look for grants or something to try and expedite that process, because I hear about it all the time. You know, it's great what's been done, but when's the next section going to be done? And I know it costs a lot of money, and we went to the other end, but it would be nice to get that middle part at some point. So thank you to Public Works. I appreciate all the work, but I would like to see that done. Also on item F, has to do with the resurfacing of the airport, the cracks seal, slurry seal, runway 220, taxiways. Good things happening out there, and I'm glad to see that we are making some needed repairs at the airport. And then we have a piece of property in G. I'm not sure exactly what the crop is, but it looks like we're going to be having some property where we're going to be growing something on Airport Boulevard. It's a good thing. And as Steve mentioned, we have several new job descriptions that have to do with the police department. And I think that's also very good that we're having more police. The one item I will be voting no on, if the rest of the consent agenda, will be item N, which has to do with the pre-zoning of that property in the county that I had voted no on before, on the annexation on Atkinson Lane. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, affordable housing is important. We do have a lot of items on our agenda, our consent agenda. Ms. Kaufman-Gomez, please.
Apologize. On item D, I also would like to make sure that the public is aware of this. In October, this was brought to us, and the resolution was to go out for bid for $1.2 million for this particular project. And with it, there were a couple grants. Now we have it on a consent agenda, and it's a project that went from 1.2 million to now 1.3.5 million. This is about $145,000 difference, which is over 10%, and I'd like staff to tell the public where the rest of the funds are going to be coming from to contribute to this project. and perhaps even why there's a difference of the bid going out versus the bid that we're going to be accepting for this project. Thank you.
Good evening, Councilmember Kaufman Gomez, Council. Maria Esther Rodriguez, Assistant Director, Public Works. The bids received reflect a number of items which can escalate the cost, including the bidding climate. There's a lot of work out there, and contractors are busy, so that's one potential reason why the cost could be a little bit more than the estimate. Again, the 1.2 million is an estimated cost at the time when we put the project together. So the additional funds will be coming from our gas tax funds, which are funds we receive specifically for road projects, maintenance, and reconstruction. And it's something that has been budgeted within our adopted budget.
And one other question for you for this as well. We're paying this up front and then we're getting reimbursed back from the programs. Could you describe that a little bit on the turn time of when we would expect the funds to be returned to us?
Sure. This does, as you mentioned, involve some federal and state funds, and they are based on a reimbursement. So what we would do is when we typically invoice right after we pay out the contractor, when they do some work, we pay them, and then we turn around with that invoice and invoice the state for that money, and it usually comes back within about a month. And we'll stay on top of it to make sure that our cash flow is positive during this time with that project.
And this is another thing that the audience and the public needs to be aware of. We have the Senate Bill 1, which is a transportation. You're seeing that there's a change with your gas tax. This is what helps us get the funds that we need in this community for these type of projects that we've had such deferred maintenance on. So keep in mind that if anything goes to the state that says, let's take that, let's revoke that, this is a tax that go to the taxpayers, we all need this in this community for the purpose of these type of projects here. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on consent agenda? Councilmember Garcia.
Yes, I needed some clarification on item K. Please clarify for me how we can have a resolution to ban fracking where in San Benito County and Monterey County, they had to go to voters to decide to ban fracking.
Mayor, Council, if I may, I believe item K is simply a resolution. It is not an ordinance. Okay, so this is just a message from the council. It is not an adoption of an ordinance enforced by law.
So if we really wanted to ban fracking, then we actually would have to go out to the voters to do that.
Yes, I believe so.
He's saying no.
No, this measure is essentially recommending that something happen. It's like when we recommend or support a state proposal, state proposition, for example. That's what this is, as I understand it. And if we were going to ban fracking, we would pass an ordinance in Watsonville.
We wouldn't have to go to the voters like San Benito and Monterey?
I don't believe so. I don't know the origin there. Maybe somebody else knows more about it than I do, but my hunch is that that's a voter initiative, and that's why it's coming up to the voters.
Isn't it already banned, though, in Santa Cruz County? I believe the county supervisors banned it like a while ago.
Right.
Well, they could ban it in the county. They may not.
We
ban
are
it.
in the county, so.
Right, but they can't regulate our land use here inside the city limits. It's in litigation. It's actually in trial now in Monterey County.
Yeah, I know that. And that's why I asked the question, because they went to the voters, and the voters said, yes, we want to ban it, and now they're in litigation. And so I needed more clarification in terms of what we're actually doing.
Okay, so.
And if it has any impact at all.
Well, I'm hoping the resolution will speak for itself in that regard. Former Mayor Rios.
Yes, I think the resolution is like other resolutions that we adopt that are, we're taking a stand of saying we are against fracking and drilling. Right now Trump is saying that he's opening the door for it. So what we're saying is we are against that. We don't have to put it to the voters because all we're doing is taking a stand. I think that if we were to ban fracking inside the city, I think then that would be a different something like what Hollister did in San Benito. But this one is like other stands that we've taken. Santa Cruz takes stands on stop nuclear weapons, nuclear weapons. But they have taken, or Berkeley has, we are nuclear free. Okay, so those are different stands. So this one, to me, is, my understanding, again, is that we're taking, a position that we are against the opening of drilling and fracking that perhaps could come this way if Trump gets his way.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for the clarification. Councilmember Felipe, did you have something?
No, did they
Question?
Did you guys finish with your question though?
I'm ready to move the motion.
Oscar, are you finished with your question?
Ready to move the consent agenda.
I do have a comment.
Please.
I have to say with the folks that came up and spoke that I agree and echo their sentiment with their public comments, especially with the oil exploration and fracking. If anyone wanted to move something, an ordinance, I'd be supportive of it. Save Our Shores, I want to thank you guys also on your appointment to your new board member from South County, Faris Sabah. Congratulations on that. You guys got a good person. And also the airport project, I think that's a really good project because it's not only a local company, but, it's going to be local union employees that are going to be working on that project. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more comments on the consent agenda? Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'm just going to comment on letter N. I'm going to be voting no on that tonight. Again, like last meeting, like I said, I don't believe the city should be picking up the county bills. I believe in housing, but in this particular property, to pick up all the bills and cover the cost of the county should not be our responsibility. So, and that's that.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Hernandez.
I'll go ahead and move on consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Hernandez, second by Kaufman Gomez. Let me add just a bit on item G. This is the first organic farming investment practice opportunity in the city of Watsonville. This is a big deal. This is 3 acres that we are taking and using and renting to an organic farmer, and we're really excited about this because it really sets the stage. We've never had a farm on city property before, and so this is a big deal. And City Manager, do you have anything to say on our new farm?
No, I would add that I think looking back at the relationship with the Farm Bureau, I think this is really, really important that this will be the first, as you said, the first farm in the municipal boundaries of the city. And I think it's really important that we recognize this. And, I think that we'll be out there and congratulate him. He wants to start, I believe, at the beginning of January. And I think it's strawberries, Matt, is that correct? I think it's strawberries or something like that. So, thank you.
I thought I read something else that was
Well,
growing up.
Mr. Dutra and I grew up on farms, and so we're all for this. I'm positive that we're going to be super excited about a farm in Watsonville.
That's great.
I have one more thing to say.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to say, my question for clarification on K, I support K completely, 100%, but I just needed that
Well,
clarification.
thank you very much. Madam Clerk, we ready for roll call?
Bielisich,
Yes, except no on N.
Kaufman Gomez,
Yes.
Dutra,
Yes, but no on N.
Garcia,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes on everything.
Hurst.
Yes. And so moved. All the items on the consent agenda approved. Nothing removed from the consent agenda, so let's now move toward public hearings and ordinances and appeals. This is item number 8 on our agenda. Number A, consolidation of urgency ordinance adding section 3-11-1113, the reauthorization of Article 11, state video purchases of Chapter 11, cable television franchises of Title III, finance of the Watsonville Municipal Code, reauthorizing said article necessary for the state franchise holders operating within the city to continue to collect and remit the public, educational, and governmental, that's called the PEG fees, and this item requires 5 affirmative votes. We have a staff report, and then we'll take questions from the council, then we'll have a public hearing, and then we'll go back to city manager's comments and council discussion. So let's have that staff report.
Good evening, Mayor Hurst, Council. Tamara Vides, Assistant to the City Manager. I'm bringing to you a recommendation to authorize the DIVCA PEC ordinance to be reauthorized in order to continue to be able to collect and remit the PEC fees from our cable franchise here in the city. Some of you may remember in the year 2000, the city had authorized the cable franchise here in the city. In 2006, the state of California created what's known as DIVCA. DIVCA is the Digital Infrastructure Video Competition Act, and it basically created a process for granting video service franchises in the state of California, encouraging competition and new technology. The city of Watsonville adopted the DIVCA ordinance back in 2009 and has been able to collect the public, educational, and governmental support fees from our cable subscribers. DIVCA is is a state franchise, and the cities need to adopt an ordinance in order to be able to collect these fees. In October 2017, the PUC, who oversees DIVCA, declared the renewal of the state franchise and notified the city that we needed to have this ordinance renewed before the end of the year. That is why this item is coming to you as an emergency ordinance, urgency ordinance, and basically, if we don't approve this ordinance, we will not be able to continue collecting our PEG fees that support the channel that is helping viewers at home watch the city council or maintain access to government channel and educational channels. This brings about $15,000 of revenue to the city every year. And basically, like Mayor stated, this ordinance requires 5 affirmative votes this evening. And happy to answer any questions. That's my staff report.
Let's take questions now on this item. Councilmember Garcia.
If we choose not to reauthorize and Charter chooses not to pay these fees, can we have another cable company such as Comcast or Xfinity do business with Watsonville?
No, we can. It's our operator, our cable operator for this area is Charter, but it's actually the ability to collect the fees regardless of who the operator is.
And in terms of Charter, and I'm a Charter member and I like them, but my question, because other community members have asked me, how can we have competition in terms of cable? How can we get Comcast or Xfinity to come to Watsonville?
Mayor, Council, if I may, on that item, it is already an agreement between the companies, between Comcast, Charter, and AT&T, what service areas they currently have, and this current area right now is with Charter. You may recall last year they were looking at a merger with Comcast that did not go through, so at this point in time, it's only going to be Charter. That's an agreement between the companies.
The companies themselves agree? Oh, okay.
Other comments or questions, rather, on this item? Councilmember Bilicic.
Does this have anything to do with the senior tax?
No.
Okay.
Councilmember Kaufman Gomez.
This is just a matter of procedure. The funds that we receive won't change one way or the other, but I know we need the 5 votes because of the urgency that's in here. So just letting the public know that it's a formality. There's no change in how things are provided, serviced, or accessible for the public.
And no increase on the fee either. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everything stays the same.
Very good. Any more questions on this item from the council? Seeing none, we'll take this out to the public for the public hearing. This is your opportunity for the public to comment on our item item A of the public hearing 8. This is the cable peg issue. Approach the microphone now.
Quickly.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, return this to council or for city manager's comments.
I make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion to approve by Dutra, second by Kaufman Gomez. Recall we need 5 affirmative votes here.
See if we can manage that.
Roll call, please.
Villasich.
Yes.
Kaufman Gomez.
Yes.
Dutra.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Hurst.
Yes, and so ordered. Let's see, that brings us to item number 9, request for scheduling of future agenda items. Councilmember Garcia.
Yes, Charles, our city manager, was evaluated by the council and his contract renewed November 2016. When I asked for his annual evaluation last month, I was told by our city attorney, Ellen, that the city does not have a policy that requires an annual evaluation of the city manager. I found that strange because in talking to our immediate past city manager, Carlos Palacios, he said that he was evaluated every year. In fact, he said it was common practice that cities, counties, school boards, and college boards evaluate their head every year. I researched and found that Santa Cruz City Manager is evaluated annually. Salinas City Manager is evaluated annually. Also, PVUSD and Cabrillo College evaluate their superintendents every year. In addition, is it fair that our employees are required to be evaluated annually, but not our city manager? Ellen did say if there were 4 city council members that requested an evaluation, it would happen. So I want to ask each one of you on the council tonight, will you agree that a future closed session item be the evaluation of Charles? And I'm looking for at least 3 more of you to say yes.
Well, let's hear from Charles and see if he's got something to say first.
Before he speaks, I want to speak to the comment about the city policy. Mr. Palacios is wrong. He's flat out wrong.
No, he didn't say
Let's let the attorney finish, please.
Let me just finish. He's wrong about the city policy. The city policy personnel rules do not apply to the city manager, the city clerk, myself, or the department heads. They only apply to the entitled employees who have public service benefits. So it does not apply to them. The council does not need any reason at all to review the city manager. They can choose to do so every 2 weeks if they wish to, or once a year, or whenever they want to. I disagree with the characterization of the Cabrillo president, because I've been on the Cabrillo board for many years, as has Councilmember Garcia, but we have not reviewed the chair every year. I can, because I was there, so I know that. There are many years that they were reviewed, but it's not accurate to say that it's a custom or practice to say every year. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I wanted to get that out, and then I'd be happy to
Your comments, Councilmember Garcia?
Carlos Palacio didn't say we had a policy. I never said that. I said that he said he was evaluated every year, and he said that it was common practice. And so, as I said, I did do some research. The city manager of Santa Cruz does get evaluated every year. The city manager of Salinas does get evaluated every year. And that's all I'm saying. And our policy does say our employees get evaluated every year. And so I said, is it fair to be required of the employees to get evaluated, but not our city manager? And as you just said, we can ask for his evaluation anytime. And so that's what I'm asking tonight. Is there at least 4 of us here on the council that say, yeah, let's evaluate our city manager?
Well, I think that Carlos Palacios was not evaluated every year, as far as I can recall, but every manager is evaluated every week and every day and every 5 minutes here quite often. And certainly a review is can be a positive experience. So let's see what other council members want to do on this particular item. Mr. Dutra.
I also agree. I think an annual review could be a healthy experience, and in this case, if this is something that Councilmember Garcia would like, I support an annual review. And I sit as chair of Metro, and we give an annual review to our chairman, or I'm the director of our Metro. So, if that's something that you'd wish, I'm okay with it. I mean.
Well, I think we can take this back, and you can have this discussion with the city manager as well as the city attorney.
I'm waiting to hear from the other council members. I asked that individually. I'd like to hear from every council member if they say yes or no.
Well, we're talking about future agenda items here.
Well, that's it. In order, Alan said, in order for us to have the city manager evaluated, we had to have 4 council members say yes. So I'm asking the council members, do we have 4 yes votes?
Well, I can tell you that we could fire the city manager tomorrow if we wish to, with 4 affirmative votes. So I don't know that I want to spend more time on an evaluation at this point in time, but maybe later. Councilmember Hernandez?
Well, I was just going to say that I think that we should discuss this with our human resources and see what kind of outcome we can get working with our human resources. I don't feel inclined to vote on something that I feel is more personnel matters or personnel issues, but I do think that we should bring it up with HR and find out a process. What are the best practices?
I would agree with that. Who else has got something to say?
Our city
I would just
attorney.
say, I agree with Councilmember Garcia. She accurately states that I said if 4 members want to put it on the agenda, they can do that. I think right now, you're having a debate about, which goes much farther than that. I think what you should do is bring it back, agendize whether you wish to have a personnel review, and then you vote on it. When the public knows about it, knows it's being agendized. That's how I would approach it. And a city manager may have additional or different views than I do.
Anyone else have comments on the process? I think that's what we're looking at, is what could be the process. City manager?
Mayor, Council, I am comfortable at any given point in time. And Ms. Garcia, every city manager's contract is completely different. And the city managers you referred to, their contracts are completely different than my own. So that is an incorrect statement because everybody's is measured differently. As far as here, any time that 4 council members want to make that recommendation to have a performance review, I'm perfectly happy with that. And as far as in this meeting, if there's a council member that wants to make a motion in a second and there's a vote to put it on the agenda, you can do that.
So, Ms. Garcia, I don't know what the right process or procedure is here. I think that, we need to probably get clear on what the process and procedure is. But I would say this, if you have some bone to pick with the city manager, that you should have those discussions with him as well, and not just call for it as an agendized item. I wish you would have those conversations prior to bringing it to the public in that regard.
She has the right to do whatever she wants, though.
I spoke to the Human Resources, I don't know what her title is, but the Director of Human Resources. I spoke to Alan, I CC'd Charles, and I was just surprised that Charles would not say, this is a good idea, because I remember as a principal and as a director, I looked forward to my annual evaluation because if I believed I was doing something good, I wanted to know how I could do it even better. So, like I said, in speaking to Carlos Palacio, he says it's very common practice. So you ask about practice. Carlos is saying it's very common practice. And so that's all I'm asking for is the common practice of an annual evaluation of our city manager. And I don't have any bones to pick with Charles.
Good.
If I did, I talked to him about it.
I hope so.
It's just a process that I believe we should be following.
Mayor Rios, do you have some advice for us?
Well, in the 17 years that I have served, we have evaluated, when need be, the city manager. And I think that right now we're talking about a procedure. And we're talking about items that should be in the next agenda. And if that's the question, then this is what we should be talking about, with a procedure. I don't think that we need to be dwelling and going back and forth. I mean, right now, the item is, request schedule future agenda items. So if there's an item, then we should take it back to the I think Mr. Hernandez mentioned also a procedure that we can go about it. And, we can stop going back and forth because it's not going to help anything right now.
Well, let's bring this back to the council agenda committee, and let's talk to our human resources folks, and if we can bring this back up as an agendized item. Councilmember Bilasich.
I think that's a good idea because evaluations, I know they happen frequently, and if we need a process or procedures, we can put those in place. It's not a big deal. But we're talking about an item that Rebecca said she's talked about many times. I'll only tell you that I have put on the paramedics fire station on the agenda. I've asked it for probably the last 6 months or more, and it's still not on the agenda. So I'm not sure the process myself. I also would like to see residential parking addressed. We've talked about that for a long time, and business vehicles being parked, and how we haven't addressed it, and yet it's seems like the number one complaint in the community. So those are future agenda items I would like to see.
Clerk does note that, I'm sure. Mr. Hernandez, and one more comment from you? Or you're done?
No, one more comment.
Go ahead.
I just want a big thank you to whoever fixed these monitors. Finally, they're working. It's been about 1.5 years or so, but they're good now. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you spent a lot of money on that, right? Good. Councilmember Kaufman Gomez, and then Councilmember Hernandez.
Sure, I'm sure everybody's anxious and ready to get out. And I think it's a procedural matter. I think that the sensitivity of the nature of what's being discussed is a council thing and not an individual thing, because we are a whole body. We are a piece of a unit of this entire body. And for some of the pursuit of those things to be with one council member instead of in the efforts made as a body of motion to move something forward, I think that that's the issue that we have here. It would be interesting that we do sit together. If you asked for us to give you suggestions for what goes on there, that we are all given a written format of how that works. If you require the 4 votes, do we do it when we're asked of the items to be placed on the agenda each evening that we meet for council? I think that that's probably the crux of whatever the matter is. And not addressing, whether a personnel issue needs to be addressed publicly this way or not, but the format in which to place an item on the agenda when we're asked what items are you interested in placing on the agenda, and not moving forward with any of those items.
Thank you very much. We'll convene a subcommittee and do that. Councilmember Hernandez?
Not anytime soon, but sometime this year I'd like to see the discussion of plastic straws. I went to Hidden Fortress, and they're telling me that they've no longer used plastic straws. They got a food-based straw, but not only that, their cups, their lids are also biodegradable. And recently, I read a thing on Starbucks here at our local store that they're going to be moving towards biodegradable straws. It'd be good if we could see a resolution or ordinance, banning the plastic straws, and maybe a discussion with Save Our Shores.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Garcia, another item for the future agendas?
I just needed clarification. I'm not understanding what the outcome is of my request for a future agenda item for evaluation of our city manager. What is the outcome?
Well, my thoughts are that we should have that conversation, and we should find out if there's 4 people that want to have that.
And when we would have that conversation?
Well, you and I can meet any time.
Well, with the Brown Act, there's only 3 of us that can meet. And Alan said that we needed 4.
Okay, well, let's ask Alan then. How would we procedurally move forward with that?
I would schedule it for a agenda item, and then you decide whether you're going to have a closed session item on this and see if you have the 4 votes.
That answer your question?
Yes.
Good. Let's see if there's any other future agenda items. Seeing none, let's move to emergency items added to the. Is there any emergencies that we need to add to the? Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if it's an emergency. They just text that this guy Jones won against this guy no more. So
Oh.
I don't know.
That's news. Well, on that note, we'll adjourn this meeting, and you know there's a reception, 2 receptions this evening. One upstairs at Fatima's Jewelry Store, and one at Jalisco thereafter.